Hey guys, welcome to another video on Bharat and Germany. My name is Bharat, and in this video I want to address a comment that I received on yesterday's video where I was talking about how Indians are actually such an important section of the workforce that the German economy is always seeking out for, because most of the engineers, especially from computer science and IT, are coming from India, and they make up to 29% of the students studying those particular subjects in German universities, and then afterwards they start doing jobs in their respective fields. Now I'm going to take you to the whiteboard to show you the comment and then give my explanation about it so that this video is more educational and informational for you, and you know what kind of problems some people might be having and what could be the solution for it. Here you see that somebody wrote, on the one hand they have a huge scarcity of qualified engineers. On the other hand, no matter which company I apply, I always get a rejection, even with very strong industry experience and knowledge. And I can understand this comment a bit, because the thing is, like, not every single person understands the job market, and especially if they have never been on the side of an employer. I've been a student in Germany, I've been an employee, and now I've also been an employer. So unless you understand the side of an employer, I think it's just a one-sided discussion that you're always doing. And that's why I personally believe that these kind of insights that I'm sharing with you right now is something that you will rarely find somewhere else, because if you're not understanding what the company is looking for, you can try all sorts of tricks and nothing is going to work out. And then many people end up with these kind of problems. There are three specific scenarios that you have to take a look at. The first scenario is if you have done bachelor's or master's in Germany. The second scenario is if you're back in India and you're relying on your work experience and German language skills. And then the third scenario is that you're essentially back in India and you do not have any kind of work experience or German language skills. So this scenario pretty much is always, like, I think it's really close to impossible, because generally German companies are not hiring people from outside EU right away, especially if they do not have anything to show for. Because many times when you're doing the entire documentation, you also have to show why exactly you're choosing this employee over many others who are in EU. The rules have become a bit easier now, approvals are coming faster, so it's not as complicated as it used to be. But in general, like, employers do not have a lot of incentive of bringing somebody over from a non-EU country if they have just cleared their bachelor's or master's and they do not have any kind of work experience. They haven't proved themselves in the industry. Scenario 1 is pretty much the easiest. So if you have done your bachelor's or master's in Germany, finding a job in Germany is easier, because first you have a German address. You're staying in Germany, you have a German address, you have the health insurance and everything in place. All of the basic paperwork that any employer would need from you, all of that would already be in place. So the chances for this, like, anyways, increases. The second thing that you have to keep in mind is if you have done your bachelor's or master's in Germany, the employers understand what kind of quality of education you must have received. Whereas if you're coming from outside EU, it's again a bit different. Not just outside EU, even if you're coming from just outside Germany, even then, like, they do not completely understand it, and the chances for getting acceptance again decreases. There's less complicated paperwork, it's more advantageous. In scenario 2, if you're back in India and you're relying on your work experience and German language skills, it generally is more difficult than scenario 1, because again you have to go through the entire process of actually hiring a new employee and then registering them inside the German system, which is a bit more difficult, but again not unheard of. I've known at least 3 people who came from the field of computer science directly from India after work experience of 2 to 3 years, and were getting salaries of anywhere from 60 to 80,000 euros per year directly in the starting. So there are also, like, major companies which support you with that. So this is also not such a complicated thing. Now here in scenario 2, generally, like, if you compare it with scenario 1, the paperwork is a bit more complicated, because many of the essential details that the companies need to register you in Germany as an employee are missing, because you're not yet in Germany. But still, to lay it out in front of you, these two scenarios are still the more positive scenarios. I think if you're in either of these two cases, finding a job in Germany is relatively easier. But just having these two, let's say, basic requirements or basic, let's say, categories in which you fall in is not sufficient. Because what you have to keep in mind is, if somebody is paying anybody money, they expect some value in return. If you're going ahead and you're buying some kind of laptop, you're buying some kind of phone whatsoever, you pay the money because you expect that that particular thing that you're buying is going to give you some kind of value in return. The same thing is true for services. If you're going ahead and enrolling yourself into some coaching, you expect a specific value from that, and that's why you're paying them some money, right? The same is true for companies. If they're thinking about paying you money, they're thinking about hiring you and like giving you some kind of tasks whatsoever, they have to keep in mind that you have some kind of specific values that you can provide to the company for the money that they're paying you. Because again, just having a degree or having some kind of work experience is still not reason enough. They have to see that you fit in the company very well. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm going to discuss it in the next section. So here, if you see, I've made some points about the comment because I can understand that this could be a very genuine problem that, this person might be having. So I want to like explain and like try to do my best for them to understand what could be the possible reasons. The first would be language skills. Now, what I don't understand is like whenever I talk to somebody, they say like, I have A1 level of German, A2 level of German, and they respond to me with these kind of like, let's say answers after I've asked them like if you're proficient in German. So what you have to keep in mind is like A1 and A2 is nothing. Like it's an absolute joke. Like if you're going as a tourist somewhere, then you're expected to have A1 or A2. If you're actually studying in a country or if you're looking forward to finding a job in that particular country, this is not sufficient at all. Like what you should be aiming for is at least like, a strong B1, or I would say like, somewhere around B2 to C1. This is the level with which you will be very comfortable sitting in different kind of like, meetings, some kind of presentations and so on, and also have discussions with the colleagues, with the company members in their native language. That's very important. Cover letter is also something that many people screw up, and the main reason behind it is just directly connected to the other reason, which is not talking enough about the company. Alina told me that in Germany, they have specific trainings where they emphasize that you have to talk about the company. You cannot just keep talking about yourself, your achievement, your skills, your education, on all of these things, but you also have to talk about the company. Why exactly this company? Why do you want to work in this company? What kind of stuff that they have done which inspires you to work in them? So if you're not talking about the company enough, half of the game is already over. So you have to like, do some research and talk about the company. Some people also lack the cold email skills. Now again, as a student of marketing, so I did my master's in international management and engineering with the specialization in marketing, and now my main business is a marketing consulting business where we take care of different kind of marketing campaigns and take care of Facebook advertisements, YouTube, Google and so on for different kind of German companies, and slowly trying to expand to other European countries. So our experience with this has been really great because as a marketing consulting company, we need to know what kind of text do you write so that you're able to make a specific person take a specific kind of action. So anyway, so for these kind of things, like for us, it is very easy to like, understand the structure of it and to make somebody do a specific thing. But for people who haven't studied these things and who haven't implemented these things, for them it is very difficult. And that's why I think having the skills of writing a cold email, that is very important. Cold email is essentially writing to somebody with whom you've had no contact before. So that then you have to answer the question, why you, why not anybody else? So you have to help the company answer these questions so that you're making their work easier for them. If you can lay it out very clearly, this is the reason why you should be selected in this particular company for this particular position, things are much easier. Then CV, again, some people come up with a 4 or 5 page CV with so much irrelevant information. I think you should think of the CV as something that shouldn't waste the other person's time. When I'm now taking a look at different kind of job applications that our company receive, and again, for the people who are looking for jobs, you can always write us an email at jobs@bharatingermany.com. We're looking for people in all sorts of different kind of fields, in digital marketing, content writing, social media management, and so on. So whenever I'm taking a look at an email and I see the CV is just filled with like nonsense stuff which is not relevant for our company, then it anyways gives me the feeling that maybe this person does not understand what the company stands for, and that is again something which leads into more rejections. Then you need to have relevant field skills. So depending on if you're in engineering and if you're in management, if you're in architecture, arts, whatsoever, you need to have skills relevant in that field. You also have to be aware of like where exactly do you find jobs, because just taking a look at the job portals like Stepstone, Indeed, whatsoever, that is not enough. That used to be the thing which used to work previously. It doesn't work anymore. Then salary expectations. Some people try to already put that I'm expecting this and this much salary. This is not a good idea, especially when they have no connection with you whatsoever. You haven't been to an interview with them. You haven't had any kind of email conversations whatsoever. And many people do that I want to work with your company and I expect this much money. And as soon as the company sees that they are just a means to an end and you are not specifically, interested in working with them, the game ends again there, because nobody wants to be used for a specific kind of thing. It has to be a relationship where both of the parties are growing from each other. Another huge mistake that I see people doing is that instead of taking out the time during the interview for asking relevant things, they ask things like, okay, how many holidays do I get? What kind of other incentives do I get? Do I get a company car or something? Do I get a laptop from the company? And all of these things, which makes the company feel like, maybe this person is not really interested in the job, but they're interested about the other things which come with it. So these kind of negotiations you can always save for later, because if you think about it, if you've had an interview with somebody and the company really loves the kind of skills you have, the kind of value you can add to them, this is going to have a positive impact in their mind. And then afterwards, when they say, okay, we can go ahead with you, then you can talk about these things, and then you will also have more negotiating power because they're already willing to go with you. If you say, okay, I don't want 20 days of holidays, I want 25 days of holidays whatsoever, do you think we can make it work? So in those kind of scenarios, companies are already more willing to actually take a few steps towards the offer that you are giving to them too. Now, so be a bit smart about it. Like, don't follow the same thing that everybody else has been teaching you, because again, if you look around in your circle, most of the people that you will find are going to be employees and not employers who can give you insights like these. So very important thing, it is not the smartest that you're taking advices from them about how do you find a job and stuff. I also saw some comments previously and they were like, this person who has never done a job himself in Germany is giving advices to other people on how to do jobs. What you have to keep in mind is the other employees, they have never been in a position where you have to hire somebody. If I have 40,000 euros of money in a year that I'm paying to somebody, I'll be more careful about how I'm going to spend that money and the things that I'm looking for in an employee. So this is why it is very important to see the side of an employer too. I was fortunate enough to hire some employees in Germany, do the paperwork and everything there, then in Romania, then in India. And so all of these things I'm aware of. So all of the insights that I'm giving you right now, these are going to be helpful. Moreover, I have a lot of business partners. So whenever we have any kind of discussions, we do not understand how to solve a particular employee problem or something, then we also discuss about these things. So definitely, keep an eye out for this and do not just listen to everybody else who hasn't been on the other side where they actually had to make a decision of hiring somebody or firing somebody. Now, this is something that we already discussed, that don't make them feel like you're using them as a means to an end. So just using them to come to Europe just to earn money or something like that. Now, about the places for finding jobs and stuff, we have had a heavy emphasis on the hidden job market. And this is also what we really heavily focus on in the job course. So what happens is, not every single time that the company is looking for something, the vacancy directly goes up. It never happens. If you think about it logically, first the company realizes that we are getting more work right now than the resources that we have. That's the stage of realization. Then afterwards they ask internally if somebody knows somebody else who could fit in this particular position. Then afterwards they take a look at the previous resources, so students who were doing part-time jobs at the company or interns who were working there. And then afterwards they take a look at the applications which were sent out to the company as unsolicited applications. Once all of these things are neglected, then they decide to put up a vacancy on a job portal, because what you have to think about is putting up a vacancy also on a job portal costs money. For many companies, it costs anywhere from 1,600 euros to 1,800 euros, depending on what kind of job portal you're choosing. Right? So definitely something you have to keep in mind. And that's why with the help of the complete course for finding jobs in Germany, we help students to appear in front of the companies in the very early stages of this entire process of putting up a vacancy on the website. So if you're actively sending out applications to companies which are not yet looking for employees, you have higher chances actually to get a positive response. And this is very interesting and it sounds very counterintuitive, but our experience with this so far has been just nice. So you can take a look at the complete course of finding jobs in Germany here. You can read through the things. We also have an FAQ section, and here, for example, many people ask me about nationalities. Is it just for like Indians or something? No, we have different kind of students in our course. We have students from Mexico, India, Pakistan, Chile, Brazil, Indonesia, Philippines, Ghana, Nigeria. So students are there from different countries. That's not a problem at all. Then you can also take a look at the sections. So we have sections about where to find jobs in Germany, the job portals. Then at the end of every single section, we have a detailed step-by-step application process part. So networking websites, company websites, hidden job market in Germany, in case you're already in Germany, what kind of things you should do, preparing your job application, following up on the application, interview strategies, negotiations. All of these details is something that you will never get anywhere else, because again, I'm just focused on Germany. There are people who are doing it for UK, US, whatsoever, but you will never find somebody else who is giving out so much detailed information about Germany in one single place. So that's why I really believe in this course, and this is going to give massive value to you. So far we have two type of plans. We have 499 euros where you have lifetime access to the course contents plus 1 month support. Then we have an intensive coaching plan where we actually have 3 students right now. We are already having the second coaching session this Friday, and here we are having support for 6 months. We have 1 month of intensive coaching, so coaching sessions every single Friday with some kind of task that they have to do. And this is something that the students have had really good experience with so far. So think about it. Think about enrolling in the complete course of finding jobs in Germany. That is definitely going to help you out if you're having any kind of problems whatsoever, or if you're thinking that you do not want to take any chances and you want to go into the job search with full preparation. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any kind of questions whatsoever, let me know in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.